in the darkest shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read ancient tomes, the order of the Abercast. We are the brave and bold. Go on and wring my neck, like when a rag gets wet. A little discipline for my pet genius. My head is like lettuce. Go on, dig your thumbs in. I cannot stop giving. I'm 30-something. Sense of security, like pockets jingling. Midlife crisis. Suck ingenuity down through the family tree. You're perfect. Yes, it's true. But without me, only you. Your menstruating heart, it ain't bleeding enough for two. It's a midlife crisis. A midlife crisis. What an inheritance. The salt and the Kleenex. Morbid self-attention. Bending my pinky back. A little discipline, a donor by habit. A little discipline, rent an option. Sense of security, holding blunt instrument. It's a midlife crisis. I'm a perfectionist, and perfect is a skinned knee. You're perfect, yes, it's true. But without me, only you. Your menstruating heart, it ain't bleeding enough for two. It's a midlife crisis. You're perfect, yes, it's true. Go on and wring my neck like when a rag gets wet. But without me, you're only you. Your menstruating heart, it ain't bleeding enough for two. Just kind of goes on like that until the end. This midlife crisis from Faith No More. It's off one of the best Faith No More albums ever.
The Abercast. Occult. History. Conspiracy. Violence. I'm your home slice, John Towers. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage everyone to rate and review on iTunes. Check out the website, stigmatastudios.com or ambercast.com. Feature topic link is up there. Social media links are down towards the bottom there. And also like to encourage everyone to sign into the newsletter. You'll hear all about it. You get the plan for a few episodes for this month. At least it's going to be the plan for the 2 tarot episodes. So there's that. And also, Patreon. Go the link in the show notes. Go check out what we have on Patreon. Always tons of exclusive shows on there. And then the shows that get done early, which are most of them, almost all of them get done early, are all available early on Patreon. So check out that. You'll hear more about that stuff later. And then there's also a donate link in the show notes, and all part of everything I get, from ad revenue to donations to Patreon, goes to help me with the Tomes for Troopers. So you'll hear more about that later. We got an update and stuff coming up. So, because some of this month's exclusive episodes on Patreon is kind of like a primer for sex magic. I thought it would be a cool way to end this month by like actually doing a sex magic episode. This is going to be a new thread we're going to be doing, laying the pipe down on this new thread for a while. And I thought that we did the primer for the Patreon episode. So, I thought that we would do just a straight up sex magic episode. So I found, I guess it's like an essay or a paper or something by Geraldo del Campo. He's a famous magician. He's done a lot of stuff from OTO to, I mean, you can find his biography. I don't have it in front of me, but he wrote this thing called Basic Techniques for Performing Sexual Alchemy. And I'm looking at this and I realize that I might have failed you guys because I did not set up nearly the amount of groundwork that I feel like I needed to for this. So as we're reading through here, we're going to jump off the train a little bit and talk a little bit more about the Kabbalah as we go through this. So, but the main reading for this evening is going to be this paper or essay or whatever it is from Geraldo del Campo, Basic Techniques for Performing Sexual Alchemy. So we're gonna get rolling right into it. Before attempting to perform any magical activity, it is useful if one has learned to control the activity of the mind, so that the operation will not be hampered by thoughts contrary to the working. This is especially true in sex magic. So this is the part where I didn't fail you. If you listen to Geraldo del Campo, obviously, as we get going into this, was a Thelemite, member of the OTO. He's very versed with all the Crowley stuff, right? And this is part of the portion where I didn't fail you guys, because we know from those Crowley episodes, especially Liber 3 and the Liber Abba episodes, which we've done, pretty much all of them, not just those episodes, but where we're talking about doing true will, and the whole Liber Abba episodes where we're talking about controlling the flow of one's thoughts. So he gets into a lot of this stuff. He doesn't want your operation to be hampered by thoughts contrary to the working. You have to be kind of skilled in order to keep your thought and your intention in your mind while you're doing this stuff. By its nature, by the nature of what you're doing, it's easy to kind of, I don't want to say lose control. I mean, obviously towards the end of it, you lose control. That's kind of the whole point. But the whole, by its nature, I guess what I'm trying to say is, by its nature, it's distracting. There never seems to be long enough. I'm sorry, geez, Freudian slip. There never seems to ever be enough emphasis on the mental equilibrium in the magical literature. Some individuals feel like that the warnings are there to discourage the use of the techniques, and this is absurd and often dangerous assumption. Hold on, I'm having like a glitch in my... I forgot to tell you guys to get your jars out. Get your jars out, fools. There never seems to ever be enough emphasis on the mental equilibrium in the magical literature. Some individuals feel that the warnings are there to discourage the use of the techniques, and this is an absurd and often dangerous assumption. Anyone who writes about a specific subject must, in all good consciousness, warn potential scientists against bugs or kinks in any procedure. There are ethics in the practice of magic. To do otherwise would be irresponsible. Imagine a science teacher handing a student a vial of mercury fulminate without telling them that dropping it would cause it to explode. In magic, and especially sex magic, the magician must possess mental equilibrium, which is a constant, strong, and endearing. I don't think that I would go as far as to recommend that everyone seek psychotherapy before embarking on magical journeys, but one must at least adhere to the advice of preliminaries set forth by the writers describing these methods. Madness and psychosis are the types of sickness that are much easier to acquire than to cure, and the steps necessary to avoid mental disorders are much easier than trying to rid one is self of insanity. Magic is not for the lazy. It requires discipline and practice. There are no shortcuts. I have discussed in detail some simple yet very effective techniques designed to strengthen one's control of the mind. In New Aeon Magic, Luxor Press, 1999, it is recommended that one does the preliminary work laid out in these pages before attempting these practices. There are many reasons for preparing the mind before embarking, 3 of which are: number 1, the mind must be so well focused and disciplined that it will withstand the natural tendency to wander from the desired effect of the operation to the operation itself, the magical context. Once you start the operation, you have no choice but to complete it. If the mind is allowed to wander from the original intent to the physical, pleasurable aspects of the technique, results can be disastrous. These exercises will strengthen the magician's ability to focus and still the mind, and we will enable you to pull up the necessary defense should you find yourself in trouble. You will also help to recover from the problem mentioned above. That was number 2. I forgot to announce that. This is number 3. One must be aware of cataloging processes of the mind in order to interpret the phenomenon that one will experience by practicing, or by these practices. The Kabbalah is, in my opinion, the best tool. Certain truths will make themselves known to the individuals who put the following methods into action. While these truths are readily understood on the unconscious level, they will be perceived consciously to defy logic. The exercises in New Aeon Magic will facilitate the practitioner with a method of explaining his experiences. It is of little consequence to me whether the student heeds this warning or not. Ultimately, only the magician bears the burden of responsibility for his or her own sanity and well-being. Having said that, I have fulfilled my responsibility to the reader. Fasting before what? Midlife crisis? There's a multitude of songs about masturbation out there. I was gonna choose the Gaga one, but this podcast isn't all Gaga all the time, you know. Yeah, she does one. I don't know what the name of the song is, but she's like, "In the fire, I'll call your name out. Spent the night trying to rub the pain out." You're like, oh, she's finger fucking herself. Yeah, so I chose that one. I don't know. It's a little bit more esoteric, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that Gaga is a Thelemite. One time, I was reading Magic Without Tears by Crowley. He wrote a book called Magic Without Tears. And in chapter... he wrote a chapter on sex morality. And like halfway down, he's talking about the sex drive, sex instinct is what he's talking about. The impulse, the sexual impulse. And he starts talking about how it's the first mask of true will. It's the poker face. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh my God, it's poker face. All right. Anyway, fasting before sex magic. Fasting before sex magic. Fasting is very powerful if it is focused. There is some desirable psychological benefit to fasting for at least a full day before the operation. Well, as your doctor, I recommend fasting before any operation. But it is not necessary for the fulfillment of the working diet. However, it is important. He's going to talk a lot about diet in a little bit. Oh, actually right here. It's important if the elixir is going to be used to treat a disease. The male body extracts the finest proteins, amino acid, and nutrients specifically for the production of, guess what? Sperm. I was going to be like, skeet. And the woman, I've recorded all of these phallic idea episodes, and I have been really good. So I might start working blue here a little. The woman's body does the same in order to manufacture a secretion that is high in mineral content, such as calcium. First, the body of the magician must be purified by water. We see this all the time, don't we? Declare by prayer or some other verbal means that the body is being purified for the task at hand, and bathe. The use of bath salts adds a nice touch, especially if the scents being used are in some way connected to the operation. For those that are unsure about which essence to use, frankincense or musk are safe bets for men. For women, booze, pizza, cheeseburgers, or a McRib, a barbecue sauce. For women, sandalwood, cavette, myrrh, rose, or jasmine is very desirable. Be careful with, I think it's civet. However, a little goes a long way. The operation requires the assistance of a second individual. Do not bathe together. In fact, try not to expose yourselves to each other for a few hours before the working. Celibacy for a few days prior to the operation is very beneficial, as the union will be greatly anticipated and received with much intensity and joy. In my own practices, I'm still reading. I'm not talking about I have written my prayers in paper with a quill, a pen of the art, as the Solomon books would call it. For ink, I have used my own blood, perfumed with appropriate oil. So what else did we learn from that Greater Key of Solomon? This automatically makes it a left-hand operation, doesn't it? It already turns it into black magic if you're using your blood. I don't buy it at all. I don't agree with that. I don't even know why I mentioned it. The paper is to be tossed into the bathwater, and the blood and perfume is allowed to dissolve before entering the bath. Second, the body must be consecrated by fire. Declare by prayer or some other verbal means that the flames of the oven that that is your body have been kindled, and you are ready to receive the elixir. Then burn ambroline incense and fan the smoke over your naked body. After effectively banishing the area with the appropriate rite, such as the lesser ritual of the pentagram or star ruby. Consecrate your mind on the results of the operation or on the talisman if you are using one. Do this several minutes until the image is readily accessible. Evoke the appropriate god for the result desired using the invoking ritual of the hexagram and state your desire before the deity. Next, you must assume the god form. Your partner will therefore become the god's consort. This is a very powerful part of the operation. When properly done, the Kundalini wastes no time. Begin intercourse. Okay, so this is another section in which I've failed you. The Kundalini is okay, so it's Hindu. It refers to this primal energy said to be located at the base of the spine. And because it's Hinduism, it has all to do with your chakras and all this kind of stuff. So you awaken the Kundalini through, this deep meditation or whatever. But in sex magic, the Kundalini is also important, and there's also there's a serpent representation to it. The Kundalini rising from like your pelvis, like a serpent up the different parts of your chakras, the different spots of your chakras or whatever. So this is what he's saying is like when the Kundalini is ready, waste no time, begin intercourse. I'm sure we're going to get into Kundalinis and all this other kind of stuff later. I'm not super knowledgeable about it right off the bat because it's in the Eastern realm, right? Like I'm not super familiar with, I know some stories from the Bhagavad Gita. I can name a few of the Indian deities, but it's not really my area of expertise. I can talk a little bit about the Kundalini and its relationship to the wand of Asclepius or the caduceus, any kind of any kind of thing like that. Okay, so Rosnius writes, when the sun gold, my brother, for the love of me, silver, pours his sperm into the chamber of my lunar body, when we become one in a strong and complete complexion and union, the child of our wedded love will be born. Note that these lovers are in this operation brother and sister, and hence allude to the mysteries of Isis and Osiris. And at the point of orgasm, the image must be called to consciousness, so that for a few brief moments, nothing else will exist in the universe of the magician except for this image. What one thinks about during the physical manifestation may not be foreign to the function of the deity involved, and the thoughts must not be at odds with the ends desired. The image and the intent on the operation must ever be backgrounded to the magician's consciousness. Obviously, the longer that one refrains from orgasm, the more powerful the result. Whether the practitioner is male or female, the fluids can either be consumed or used to charge the talisman. The talisman or thought form will become living entities. And in my opinion, women have the strongest potential to intensify the success of this operation. And as they are capable of multiple orgasms, well, hey, when I wasn't in my 40s, in which case the intent or the image of the operation should be encouraged to flood the conscious at each peak of the orgasm. In some cults, males and females alike will congregate in private spaces made sacred by ceremony, and afterwards they will pleasure a priest, and during orgasm, the coma-like phenomenon that occurs immediately following the orgasm, the priest becomes an oracle, answering questions for the participants and seeing future events. So I have some things I just want to backtrack a little bit. So this, you hear guys talk, you hear the kids nowadays talking about sigil magic. They're talking about, I don't know what they call it, the jerk off method or something. It's like you spend your little bit of time and you make your sigil, and then you stare at it and you jerk off to it. And it's, the idea behind it is when you're coming, like your ego checks out. It's the little death, as it's called in France, le petit de mort or something like that. I don't know. I don't speak French. Anyhow, so the idea is when your ego, you're crushing, like you're blasting through your ego with your orgasm. Like you're not concerned with the weird look you have on your face, like the O face and all that. Like you're entirely self-unaware at that moment. And so the idea is you draw this little picture that's encoded with your intent. And when you're coming, you look at it, and it's supposed to like catch on fire or something, and like turn like a laser or something. And then you destroy this sigil. So this is like, it's hip nowadays, this sigil magic or this chaos magic. You're evoking Superman or some stuff, and I'm sure it works. It's fine. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm trying to draw a delineation between this and the chaos sigil magic. He's saying here, like, there's specific gods you have, like, he's not saying which ones. You have to pick which ones, but he's certainly not saying you can conjure the spirit of Batman. Some people do that. Like if they're, these chaos magicians. That's why it's called chaos magicians. But this is what he's talking about. When people talk about sigil magic and this chaos magic, though, they're not talking about this elixir. We're going to get into this elixir a little bit, but they're not talking about the mechanics, the biology of it. They're talking about like I'm not even going to say psychology of it. This is why I should do more notes when I'm talking about this kind of stuff. I just don't have the words right now. But they're like the aspect of this sex magic that Del Campo was talking about is it's mechanical, it's biological, and it's psychological. So, this seems like a little bit more all-encompassing. I don't know if this is the difference between high magic and low magic or ritual magic. When these chaos magicians and these sigil jerkers, when they're talking about this stuff, they aren't... I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm sorry. I should not have said sigil jerkers. But, they are not saying, like, before you jerk to a sigil or on a sigil or whatever, you have to, like, bathe your body, and you have to do like all this stuff, and you have to fast. They're like, hey, you're at work, draw a sigil and head to the little boys' room and do some magic. All right, so now that I've pissed a bunch of people off, autoeroticism, the solitary sex magic. Before I get started on this, I should have looked at the time. And to all my brothers and sisters out there who's asking, Pastor Larry Solomon, what do you know about it? What do you know about love? Well, I'm here to tell you, you youngsters, you teenagers, and all of you, I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about love.
the eternal and everlasting love of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Can Jesus Christ get an amen? What you all are talking about isn't love. It's lust. It's the unrighteous lust of the flesh, of the physical body. You are talking about unclean and unholy thoughts, nakedness and sin, touching those sweated bosoms instead of asking, please, Jesus, forgive my sins. You asking, why? Why can't I get just one kiss? You should be asking for a kiss on the lips from the Lord Jesus Christ. Can I get an amen? Instead of asking for the Lord to save your black, dog, dookie-stained soul, you're asking, why? Why can't I get just one screw? You should be thinking about Jesus screwed up on that wooden cross up on Calvary instead of asking for eternal life after the death of your broken, your fat body, your filthy body. You're asking why? Why can't I get just one fornication? You better turn on your TV and watch Face the Nation. Can I get an amen for learning something? Amen, amen. Learn some current events. And you, sister, why are you down there learn about the influence of the phallic idea and the religions of antiquity? Where do you go to learn about it? I'll tell you where. 3 episodes on the $3 tier and a bonus episode on the $5 tier of the Abercast Patreon page. Can I get an amen? Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Amen. All right. Or autoeroticism, the solitary sex magic. After preparing as above, simply masturbate with the intention of the operation or the image of the talisman in the back of your mind. And at the point of orgasm, focus all of your attention on the talisman so that the image floods the consciousness. Whether the working the working is geared towards healing oneself, the magical link will be the sexually produced fluid which can be consumed. When working alone, it is most effective if the deity involved is one of the many self-created gods in mythology, since they did not require a partner. Okay, so that draws a pretty clear illustration of what I was just talking about. You know, instead of in using Del Campo's vernacular, instead of coming on the talisman, you know, he's saying that you should consume it. So there's that. And he's talking about this specifically, which god you should invoke or pretend, you know, is not pretend, that's the wrong word. Which god you should become, your god form should become one that is one of the many gods that is self-created in a set mythology, since they do not require a partner. That makes sense. Heterosexual sex magic. Sex magic with a partner of the opposite sex. Now, I don't feel like I need to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and read this note. The reason I have not included a section on same-sex magical operations is that simply I don't know of any. If the reader is familiar with ceremonial approach to this kind of operation, I would be interested in hearing from them. I have no idea when this was written. I'm sure someone out there knows now. Aleister Crowley, this is also very fascinating. Aleister Crowley counsels that the partner not be aware of the operation, lest some contrary thought in a part of one's companion hampers the success of its working. There may be some ethical questions regarding the use of someone else's sexual energy for one's gain, but that is not the purpose of this paper.
as the morality and karmic repercussions of any actions should be thought out by the magician beforehand. In any case, as stated above, you must assume the form of the most appropriate god for the work at hand, while projecting the form of the counterpart of the god you must, or you have assumed unto your partner. If they are able to do the same, then the better the result. He must perceive for the god he is, and she for the goddess she is. This is why the study of Raja Yoga, the yoga of the mind, the Bhakti Yoga, plays such an important role in schools that teach Tantra or sex magic. See the Star Sapphire. Yeah, we got into a little bit of this in the Liber Abba, the mysticism section. In this case, we are both partners are aware of the task at hand. Both must prepare and consecrate and start as stated above. Ideally, the male's ejaculation should be delayed until such time when the female collaborator achieves orgasm. I did not mean to pluralize that. Masturbation can be employed in order to synchronize the orgasms. Intercourse should continue until the fluids are well mixed. The mixture of fluids must then be consumed. The fluids are referred to as the elixir of life. The male drains the grail or the vagina and shares the elixir with his female counterpart in a kiss. The reason for the oral administration of the elixir is that it is easily absorbed by the mucous membranes in the mouth. Any leftover fluids can be used to charge the talisman. Hindu tantric teachings tell us that the yogi may ejaculate or refrain as he sees fit, but if he ejaculates, he must participate in oral sex. That's hard to unpack, right? These tantric yogis, they can like fuck all night, I guess, but they refrain from coming. There's actually a hack to this, where, boy, I think I might have mentioned this on the show before, and then afterwards I was like, why the fuck did I say that? But there's a hack for this. It's where it's kind of like, if you're familiar with the mandible claw, it's a wrestling move. It's kind of like your mandible clawing your taint, right? So it's like you're about to go, and what they do is they claw this. There's like a duct that like runs, you know, like paralleling like your taint, and if you clench it like that, you'll still like come, but nothing will come out, right? So it's like you're keeping it in there. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm sure there's a medical term. I'm also sure that medical professionals would caution against that. But whatever. I guess it probably just hangs out in your system until it gets absorbed. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. I just know that people do it and it's fucking weird. Boy. The taste of the elixir will largely depend on the hygiene and nutrition. When men and women are in good health and adhere to good dietary habits, their sexually secreted fluids will contain large concentrations of amino acids and minerals from which both participants can benefit. When properly combined, the consistency should be similar to honey, and it should have a strong, sweet taste. I'm sorry, I have to say that. This reminds me of Clerks. When, I can't remember his fucking name, Snowball? Why do they call him Snowball? Because after a girl goes down on him, he likes it like spit back into his mouth. He requests this? Yeah, he gets off on it. It's called a snowball. In Western and Eastern alchemical texts alike, the sexual discharge of the woman is referred to as the red lion, or sulfur, and the ejaculate, salt, as the white eagle. The elixir is the conjunction of the fluids produced by the union of the male and the female, and is symbolized by Mercury. The ancient alchemical treatise called The Sounding of the Trumpet, we are told that in the lunar stone is the white sulfur, and the solar stone red sulfur, and the mercurial stone embraces both, which is the strength of the whole magistry. This alludes to the exchange of fluid one into the other vessel. The use of the word strength in the paragraph is not random. See Rider-Waite Tarot, Trump called strength, or Crowley's equivalent called lust. All right, so briefly in The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Waite. Strength, the 8 card, a woman over whose head there broods the same symbol of life, which is the infinity symbol, which we have seen in the card of the magician, is closing the jaws of a lion. The only point in which the design differs from the conventional presentation is that her benefit fortitude has already subdued the lion, which is being led by a chain of flowers. So, I mean, this card is showing the strength card with the sign of life over its head. I think that probably is what's being talked about here. And the fact that Crowley, so when Crowley made his, I can't remember what it's called, Typhon deck. When he made his deck, he changed a couple of the cards. There wasn't gigantic changes, but here Del Campo notes that the strength card was changed to the lust card in Crowley, in the Crowley deck. Red is the color of the Gabora on the tree of life and has become known to most by its association with phallus. Mars was a god of war and the Kundalini. Red is also the heraldic substitute for the metal gold, a metal used to attribute to the sun and possessing male qualities. At first glance, it is easy to perceive this conflict in archetypes. As I have explained previously, the Tree of Life can be used as a system of classification wherein abstract principles can be decoded or broken down to reveal certain truths. And this is where I will turn for my answer. All right, so I'm going to... fuck, man. All right, we're just going to do it. I'm going to jump to this book called The Kabbalah, The Elements of the Kabbalah by Will Parfait. It's a little bit on the simplistic side, but it's a good place for us to be right now. And we're just going to do a quick introduction to the Kabbalah, since Del Campo here is talking about the Tree of Life is where he's going to seek his answers for this. He goes on to say, what follows is very difficult to explain and even harder to understand unless one refers to some visual aid. Please refer to the illustrations of the Tree of Life for reference. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this up in the plan for this episode, even though I wasn't planning on doing this. The plan. Tree of Life. Sorry, I just got to take notes. Okay. What is the Kabbalah? The Kabbalah is the heart of the Western mystery traditions. Is in a way of personal development and self-realization based on a map of the consciousness called the Tree of Life. It is a constant inspiration to the seekers of inner wisdom. whatever their religion or belief. The Kabbalah emphasizes the relevance of our ordinary daily lives as an expression of our spirituality. It offers us detailed, coherent worldview, both of the nature of human existence and the relationship between ourselves, or other beings, or planet, or even the universe as a whole. I remember I was doing real Kabbalah heavy art in college. Well, art school, and I got stuck in a critique where I was like, "Oh, and this reflects the different aspects of the Doth and the different Sephiroths in the Tree of Life of the Kabbalah," and the art teacher blinked a few times and was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, it's this thing, like the Jewish Kabbalah," and I was trying to explain. He goes, "What?" And so like I wound up having to like take up half of class to try to explain Kabbalah to a hippie art school teacher in a class full of wannabe graphic designers. All right, I'm doing a lot better this time. I should have just whipped out a book and just started writing. Anyhow, for many years, the Kabbalah appeared to be lost in obscurity, particularly in the practical application. Yet today, with so many people searching for the spiritual roots and looking for meaning of the purpose in their lives, it is undergoing a remarkable comeback. Its influence has not only been in the spiritual realms, however, it has also extended to a profound and lasting effect on the growth of modern Western psychology. Although he kept it a secret, we now know that Freud was interested in the Kabbalah, and his letters to Jung made many knowledgeable references to the Tree of Life. The Hebrew word Kabbalah means to reveal, and it refers to a revelation of our own inner nature that can come from the study of its use. The Kabbalistic diagram known as the Tree of Life is a guide to the body, personality, soul, and spirit, and it encompasses a philosophy and psychology of great theoretical and practical depths that deals with the whole person, not just an intellect. It has been called the mysticism of the West. The word Kabbalah also means to receive, referring to our ability to receive inner wisdom and understanding. A distinction is made between knowledge, which is primarily theoretical, and understanding, which is primarily practical. Nothing can replace the experience of the Kabbalah in its practical applications. To appreciate this fully, we have to engage all aspects of our being, our thinking, feeling, and sensing functions, and not just the intellect. The Kabbalah can be divided into 5 parts. Firstly, there is the oral Kabbalah, aspects of the teaching received orally, either from a teacher of some kind, of another traveler in the journey of self-development. It can, once we start using the Kabbalah practically, and quite amazing how even chance remarks made by other people can offer a useful meaning and timely insights into our own nature. Secondly, there is the written Kabbalah, which traditionally aims to describe the structure and nature of the universe. Thirdly, there is the literal Kabbalah, which can be concerned with the decoding of information within Kabbalistic texts, particularly the Bible. In later chapters of this book, we will see how, from a Kabbalistic viewpoint, the Bible reads very differently from the Orthodox Jewish or Christian viewpoints. The fourth division is called the symbolic, the Kabbalah, and is concerned with understanding the integration of our own experience in life, where everything with which we relate is viewed as a symbolic representation of something deeper. The symbolic Kabbalah is primarily based on the Tree of Life diagram. Finally, the fifth division is called the Practical Kabbalah and is concerned with the utilization of all the various aspects of the Kabbalah to promote evolution and to create changes on all levels, as well as being a system of personal development and self-realization. The Kabbalah more particularly can be seen as... Hold on, I need a drink for this. A map of levels of awareness and energy. A means for the correlation and expression of experience. A tool of communication. A method for the expansion of consciousness. A way to connect inner and outer awareness. A method for understanding other people's experiences. A way of formulating ideas with more clarity. A way of relating to all symbols, whatever their source. And a method for testing the truth of any experience. And a means for communicating with other beings, even those that may seem to inhabit other worlds or planes of existence. So I think that's a good place to... I didn't mention time travel, but that's in there. So we're going to end it here. And so I feel pretty good about this. I feel like maybe I didn't fail you guys as much as I thought that I did, because now at least I can introduce a little bit of this Kabbalah business before we get into it practically with the sex stuff. So I feel pretty good. I feel like I dodged a bullet, like the fucking Neo from the Matrix. I'm John Towers. This has been the Abercast. This, I would like to encourage everyone to rate and review on iTunes, please. A little stale. My iTunes review is getting a little stale. I need some help, people. I need some help. Check out the website, stigmatastudios.com or the abercast.com. There's social media links down there towards the bottom. Hit me up. I have I love the engaged listeners. I love to answer questions and ask questions, and I get links from people all the time where I'm like, this is really funny. Sign into the newsletter. You'll hear more about the newsletter business coming up, and that's the thing that I was talking about with the plan. I'll definitely get, if you guys don't know, I mean, I have the fucking Tree of Life tattooed on me, but I'll do a better representation for the plan. But that'll be the only figure in there. So check that out. And Patreon, Tomes for Troopers, is a great way to support me and support some troops that way. And so we're just going to get onto it. Wait, hold on. What are you saying? Whoa. What's going on? Yeah, hey, we're letting you guys know what's going on with Tomes for Troopers this month. We had we had an Air Force person. We had an airman requesting specifically respectfully request Dungeons and Dragons rule book. He said that he wanted edition 5, but any would do. So we went down and we actually tracked down the core rule book and the monster manual 5th edition for him and sent it out to him. So that's what we're doing. That's what we have done with Tomes for Troopers this month. It's a little on the sad side. Sometimes I only get to send 1 or 2 books out a month, but right now it's the limitations of the support. So if you want to help out with Tomes for Troops, Patreon, there's a donate link right there in the show notes, and whatever money I get from the ad revenue monthly, a portion of all those things goes towards these Tomes for Troopers. So here we go. Like, we've sent out a bunch of stuff. This is the first time we sent out Dungeons and Dragons though, so I'm pretty excited about that.
handcuffed on is safe. So I'll take a shot of whiskey and say good night. The whiskey make me wanna fucking fight. I fucking fight, fucking fight. The whiskey make me wanna fucking fight. The whiskey make me wanna fucking fight. The whiskey make me wanna fucking fight.
Tap down those boots while I beat around. Let's funk downtown. Tap down those boots while I beat around. Funk me downtown. I lay around and touch myself to pass the time. I fell down, I wish you were mine. I close my eyes, take a breath and picture us in a place I can't recognize. In the fire I call your name out. Up full night trying to rub the pain out. I'm singing, baby don't cry, baby don't cry. Dancing in circles, feels good to be lonely. Baby don't cry, baby don't cry. I'm singing, dancing in circles, feels good to be lonely. Tap down those boots while I beat around. Let's funk downtown. Tap down those boots while I beat around. Funk me downtown. I fool myself. I swirl around as if someone else. Your hands are mine. I do a trick. Pretend that I am you until it clicks. I come alive. Come alive. In the fire, I call your name out. Up all night, trying to rub the pain out. And I'm singing, baby, don't cry. Yeah, you get it. Baby, don't cry, baby, don't cry, baby, don't cry. Yeah, you fucking get it.